are live. Hey, hey, hey. What is up? Oh, hold on. Let me check. I'm pretty sure my settings are good, but always check your audio before you get started. Microphone. Cool. I'm good. You should be able to hear me. All right. What's up, guys? I'm back. And I think I've come to the conclusion that I have a lopsided head. I don't know. I look at like the image in the camera there. I don't know. Are my headphones lopsided? They're totally lopsided. There's like way more. Mirror image. There's way more space over here than over here. And like, I don't know. I try to adjust and it just feels. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. Like this. That's the way it naturally sits. It feels nice on my head here. I think my head's lopsided. I don't know. Is this one ear? No, this side. Is this ear like lower on my head than this ear? I don't know what it is. But that's what I've determined. So, there you have it. I have a lopsided head. All right, so we are, we switched over, man. We're going into Blender. We're trying. I'm trying to get into Blender here. It's really a struggle. It's a struggle. But I am a determined individual. And I hope you are as determined as I am. I'm cutting off of the YouTube tutorials, however. I decided that I am going to go into, this is lynda.com from LinkedIn. These are the tutorials that I've been kind of mentioning. And I don't know, disclaimer, I'm not sure if this is totally allowed to be done because, I don't know, hey, listen, I have a library card. You could easily go get a library card and get access to this for free. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I'm sure there are some paying customers that pay for like a premium version of this. So I don't know, there might be some legality thing that I'm kind of like entering the, the gray here. But we're going to go for it because it's not like I'm showing a complete course. And we're probably just going to get through the first like 5 little things here. So it's not even going to be that much. Also, I want to give you a preview of what this whole Lynda learning looks like. So if anyone's interested, you can go to your, go get a library card. Well, you can't go get one yet, but hopefully you have one already. And if you have one, then you can go to Lynda Learning, and it's just lynda.com. I don't know. It's different for each library, so I just searched Lynda Monmouth County Library, and that's Lynda. And there'll be a link for you. You can go in, and if you have your library card, you plug in the number, and if you have never been on here before, it asks you to create a profile, so you have to use your library card, create a password and all that stuff. But eventually you will be logged in here, and you will have access. Just search for the course, and you have access to any course you want. It's crazy the amount of courses they have there. So I just typed in Blender, and this is here, Blender 283 Essential Training. And I just watched the introduction video, and it looked cool. It looks like this guy obviously knows what he's talking about and will be super informative and instructional. And here's the other thing. You never know what you're going to get when you go onto YouTube. And so as like a teacher, I'm sketchy when it comes to YouTube without previewing the videos. The ones that we were watching the other day, I know I was like, he was funny. I don't want to be watching something and have him say something that, shouldn't be said. And I know that going into lynda.com, these guys are professionals. These are like industry standard, and the product is going to be quality. So let me just show you what I got working with down here. I am at 2 times playback speed because I like to fly through these things. If we have to slow things down, we can. I should have captions on as well. I typically do. Oh, they'll pop up down here, I guess. And that's it. That's all I have. So we're going to jump into this guy. And I'll show you this.
The newly released Blender 2.8 brings back the fun in 3D and 2D animation with a huge new array of tools and workflows that are easy to use. We'll cover the brand new interface inside of Blender and do a deep dive through the written from ground up real-time rendering engine Eevee. Each chapter will go over topics like 3D scene creation, modeling, sculpting, texturing,
It looks
creating
beautiful.
animation rigs, 3D animation, simulations like fire and fluids, and even 2D
There's
animation.
that
Plus,
flaming
we'll go over
monkey.
how to render all of your artwork in a quick and easy way by utilizing either Eevee or Cycles. If
There's
you've used
2D
Unity or Unreal before,
animation
the
in
real-time
here.
rendering inside of Blender is going to be very familiar. If you've used 3D Studio Max, Maya, or ZBrush, there's even a Blender industry standard key map that you can use so you can quickly jump in. The versatility of this software is absolutely amazing. It allows you to
That's
create
cool.
artwork for games, movies, and animation all within a single program. And incredibly, it's free to use. Hi there, my name is David Andrade, and today we're going to begin a brand new journey of creating art together. Are you excited? I am. Let's get our
do
journey
it.
started.
It's going to be cool.
With this big new release
So
of Blender,
for
I wanna make
Drew,
sure that we
that,
have a few ground rules set. First, I want to assume that you've
that
never used Blender
2D
before, but that you are familiar with general
the
3D
2D
concepts like
animation
viewport,
stuff
animation,
is
graph
there
editor,
too.
outliner, etc. If you're not, then I highly recommend you check out George Maestre's Introduction to 3D, as that'll set a good foundation for us to work off of. While you're at it, I also recommend you check out my course, The 12 Principles of Animation for CG Animators, as that'll set a nice ground plane for us to discuss character animation. Now, depending on when you watch this course, a few things may have changed. Initially, this entire course was recorded using Blender 2.80 in the spring of 2019, but a lot has changed, and by the spring of 2020, we now have the introduction of Blender 2.83. A few things have moved, and some things have totally changed. In general, everything is still more or less in the same place, but where there was a very big change, I've gone ahead and updated those videos. So occasionally, if you see a few differences, that's what's happening. One of the big changes was the introduction of the brand new Blender file view. If you compare it to versions past, you can see that this entire file
I'm
view
skipping
system
you, man. It's
Blender's
all
new
a bunch
interface
of
takes advantage of
nonsense.
a lot of modern graphics technology and trends, but at first it can be kind of overwhelming. So in this video, let's take a look at all the things you can do in it. Now over here on the left, when you first start Blender, you'll see a couple of things under New File. These are your workspaces, and for the purpose of this video, we're just going to go to General. But don't worry, you can always hit Control-N and switch your workspace to another kind of workspace, like 2D animation. Let's go back to General. Now here is your viewport. This is where all of your 3D will happen. So you have your camera, you can left-click select it and move it around with G, and you can hit T to open up your Tools panel and activate other cool tools like this rotation. Now if you hit N over here on the right, you'll see your Transform panel come up. So if I click on this cube, I can rotate it just by left-click dragging any one of these values. And you can even see the dimensions of that object, and this is in metric, so those are meters.
Did he just say something about like a gamma or something? I don't see closed captioning here.
Underneath here, you have tools
Did I miss something?
that are dependent on which tool you actively have selected.
No, there's no subtitles, right? Okay, so he said something about gamma. I'd like, if we're doing this, I want to get the proper terminology here. So what did he say? He grabs this thing.
It will happen. So you have your camera, you can left-click select it and move it around with G.
G,
And you
grab.
can
All
hit-
right, because he said G, and I thought like the other guy said G was grab. Okay, never mind.
T to open up your Tools panel and activate other cool tools like this rotation. Now if you hit N over here on the right, you'll see your Transform panel come up. So if I click on this cube, I can rotate it just by left-click dragging any one of these values.
So
And you can
T
see
is
the dimensions of that
transform,
object,
and
this is in
then
metric, so those are
okay,
meters.
here's
Underneath here, you
where
have
you
tools
can mess
that are
with all
dependent
that
on which
stuff.
tool you actively have selected. And underneath that is your view options, which controls the camera that you are currently looking through, but not the scenes camera. That's over here, and it has its own options in the properties panel. We'll get to that in a second. The cool thing about this, though, is you can switch your focal length to get a really wide view or a really narrow view. And if something ever goes to a value you don't want, you can always right-click and go to reset to default value.
Cool.
Sometimes the default value might be really high, so in this case, I'm just going to type in 50 mm for millimeters, and there we go. Now, above the viewport are a whole bunch of workspaces, and you can click on them really quick, and you'll see that each one activates a different kind of layout for your scene. For example, under sculpting, you have the sculpting mode,
Cool.
and under animation, you can see we have the dope sheet down here, and a camera view, and your 3D view.
Uh-huh.
You can even create your own custom workspaces, which we'll talk about a little bit later. On the right is your outliner. Your outliner is your list of all the objects in the scene. So in this case, we see we have a camera, a cube, and the light that's over there. Above it is a thing called a view layer and a scene layer. Now, these are pretty deep topics, but overall, a scene layer is everything in your scene, whereas a view layer is which one of these kinds of things are on or off. It lets you customize those. Next, at the bottom is your timeline, which we can bring up over here. You can move your playhead or actually play things. Later on, you can even set animation by hitting auto keyframe. And finally, on the right is your properties panel. You're going to spend a lot of time here as well, as each and every object has its own kind of properties. For example, when I click on this cube, you can see all of this extra data appeared, but when I click on this light, some options disappear because this light doesn't have as many options to manipulate. And same with the camera. You'll see that once I click the camera, a little camera icon appeared here, and I can click on that and check out all of my camera properties. Or go up to my object, and I can see all my object properties, and here I can control the same things that I could up in my transforms.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. You can see how each one of these windows reacts with the other one. Okay, now I know there was a lot to take in, so let's dive in a little bit deeper into the viewport. As we begin our journey in Blender 2.
You see how this is like so much better already. I feel like you're right. You're not just clicking on a random, I don't know, video and having some guy walk you through a tutorial. Like these are obviously very well laid out curriculum, and they walk you through step by step. When are we going to explorial on 2D animation? Drew, hello, hi. So this tutorial here, this guy gets into it. sculpting, 3D animation, textures and shading. He'll get there somewhere down here is 2D. Ah, here you go. 2D animation. And so in order to get to the 2D animation, I feel like we need to get a good understanding of Blender. So we're going to blow through as many of these as possible, but just so you know, this course does get into 2D animation. So we'll get there, man. We'll get there. Yeah, this is like an overview of everything that Blender can do.
2.8, I want to make a couple of assumptions. First, you're not familiar with the previous version of Blender at all, but you are in general familiar with 3D concepts like animation, 3D viewports, etc. Next, even if you are familiar with Blender, we're going to be using the Blender shortcuts included in 2.8, and not the original 2.791. If you're familiar with Maya or ZBrush, you could use the industry-compatible shortcuts, but mind you, this whole course will be using the default Blender 2.8 shortcuts. Next, we're going to be selecting everything with the left mouse button. I know a lot of folks like the right mouse button, but again, to keep everything default and fresh, we're going to start with left. Next, I want to set the spacebar to play, because that's what it is for default. Although tools and search are equally really valuable buttons to set it to, we're going to use play and F3 for searching. Next, you can pick whichever theme you want, Blender Dark or Blender Light, but I'm going to stick to Dark because it's kind of nice on the eyes. Now, at the time of recording this course, we are at feature and UI lock. However, some small things may change, like tooltip pop-ups or the name of things. In general, everything's going to be in the same spot, and all the tools and shortcuts will be the same. Now, one last thing. If you come up to Edit, Preferences, bring this over here, I recommend you go to System and enable CUDA if you have the option to. If you have a 1080 or similar graphics card and a pretty decent CPU, you can check both of these boxes because you'll get a lot of performance boost.
Okay, sweet. Let me do that then. CUDA. Drew, did you download Blender? Edit, Preferences, and System, did he say? Go to CUDA. GTX, yep, and I'm going to do this Intel Core i7. Sweet. Performance boosting. That's what I'm all about, man. Hopefully this thing will go faster than the other, but we'll see. Okay, back.
For some folks, you'll be able to use OpenCL. Now, if you don't see any compatible hardware support here, or if you're using a Mac, don't worry. You too can also have a great Blender 2.8 experience. Now that we have a good handle on how to move around the viewport, let's take a look at some of the more advanced viewport options and overlays. The first thing right off the bat is object visibility. This lets you turn off objects that you don't otherwise want to look at, so you can focus on other things. Of course, if I turn off a mesh, you won't see it, and I can left-click and just drag all the way down and just keep going until I turn off everything that I don't want, and in this case, all I've left is a camera. I can turn this back on and turn on visibility. I can also turn off selectability, so in this case, I won't even be able to select the mesh, but I can everything else.
Okay, so that locks it. That's cool.
Let's keep on going. Viewport gizmos. When you select an object, you can turn on the default gizmos. That lets you rotate, scale, and move just by grabbing one of these sections. However, after a while, you'll get pretty good at G, R, and S. Nonetheless, viewport gizmos are really quite handy. You also have the navigate gizmo at the top right here, which you can use to change views really quickly. And you have active tools and active object gizmos that'll let you know what you have selected. I like leaving these on, and occasionally turning these on if I need to see what the axis of the object is. You can also turn on and off gizmos for the cameras, lights, and other objects. Next are viewport overlays. These are two-dimensional overlays over your 3D objects. The most common is the grid floor. And from here, you can even scale the grid and change it to whatever you want. There's a 3D cursor, text info updates, annotations, and all the other extra stuff that goes on top of an object. You can also left-click, drag, and hold to turn these on and off really quickly. You can even turn on wireframe. So if I X delete this, Shift A, add a monkey, come back up here, you can see different wireframe options that let you preview your object a little bit better. You can even turn on face orientation just to make sure that everything's pointing in the correct direction. Next is X-ray mode. This lets you see behind the object. It's really handy when you hit Z and go to wireframe. That way you can see the full 3D object. However, you can always turn off X-ray, and that way you get a really nice, clean wireframe to look at. It's up to you, and it's a really handy tool. Over here are the shading mode options. You can access this by holding on Z and seeing this pie menu, pick whichever one you want. By default, it's on solid. I'll turn off X-ray mode really quick and explore solid by hitting this little drop-down button. There's a lot of options here. Matte cap is like a quick material that you can put on objects. It won't render, but it'll give you a really nice idea of what you're looking at. Studio is studio lighting. You can click here and select any different kind of light that you like, and you can even click this little button and move the lights. Again, this won't affect rendering. It's just for preview and working inside the viewport. Underneath here are a whole bunch of options, and it's really nice to demonstrate it with a few more objects. So hit Shift D and just make a few more monkeys. Now come back up here, click this drop down, and you can click on Random. And this is really handy because it'll randomly assign a color to each and every single object you create. Of course, if you've done any vertex painting, you have textures, or a material, you can also click on those and have those colors appear. But when you're constructing a 3D scene, having random on will help you see each and every individual object. For now, I'll switch back to object mode. There's also different backgrounds that you can pick, or you can just specify whichever one you want color-wise. Again, this is all for the viewport. It doesn't render that way.
Right.
And finally, a whole bunch of extra options that let you modify how an object looks inside of the 3D viewport. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is Look Dev mode. Look Dev lets you quickly preview lights. If these monkeys had any materials on them, or colors or textures, you could use this option to preview their lighting in different case scenarios, like in the morning, in darkness, or other places, like even indoors. You can also rotate the light and play some with the background. And just like in solid mode, none of this will render. It's just for previewing it inside the viewport. Finally, there's rendered mode. That's this button over here. And if you click down this drop down, there's nothing, because at this point, you're rendering. If you switch your render engine to cycles, you'll see a little pause button. What that will do is when I kick up the viewport to say 200 samples, I can click on pause, and hopefully I caught it, pause it right before it renders all the full samples. This is really handy if you have, for example, really big scenes, a lot of monkeys. I can hit unpause, and then pause it, So that way I'm not spending a whole bunch of CPU cycles rendering. However, you'll note that now that I pause it, it's kind of baked it to my scene. So I'll have to unpause it to restart that render. And then pause it again, and then you get this cool thing. And although it seems a little weird, it's actually really handy when you're troubleshooting renders. When you want to pause everything, change a color on something, and then unpause it and see how it affects. Using all these tools together in concert, like overlays and shading methods, will make you a Blender Pro. The 3D cursor is one of Blender's best innovations. It lets you point exactly where you want an object created. It allows you to have an extra pivot point if you need one, and it gives you a whole bunch of quick snapping tools. Let's take a look. Now, what do I mean by allowing you to create an object right where you want it? Let's shift right-click over here, somewhere in 3D space, and hit Shift A, and let's go ahead and add a cone. And you can see that this cone's orange dot, which represents a pivot point, is exactly where my 3D cursor is. Now I can do that again. I can shift right-click over here, Shift A, and in this case I'm going to add a monkey. And you can see that the monkey's orange dot is exactly where the 3D cursor should be. So if I shift left-click both the cone and the monkey, I can shift right-click in the middle space here. See that? Come up to my pivot point and switch it to 3D cursor, and then hit R. I can rotate around this point right here in 3D space, which is exactly where the 3D cursor is. This might be really helpful if you need a real quick pivot point to just make some adjustments, but you don't want to change the object's own pivot point. In fact, you can see that each object has their own pivot point because each one has its orange dot and it hasn't moved at all. But if I hit RR again, I can rotate around and you'll see that each object's pivot point, those little orange dots, are still there. Now another cool thing we can do is shift right click over here and let's say Shift S, and there's a lot of options here, but the first one I'm going to go to is selection to cursor. Now my monkey and my cone have all snapped to that 3D cursor.
Cool.
If I wanted to, I could click on this light, hit Shift S, and go to cursor to selected, and now my 3D cursor is right on that light. Again, left click and shift left click again. Both of these objects, Shift S, selection of cursor, and look at that. I have snapped both the monkey and the cone exactly on that light, in fact. These are just some of the many things you can do with a 3D cursor. It's an incredibly handy tool that you're going to be using throughout your Blender journey. Now, let's take a look at some of the more advanced transforming and snapping techniques. Let's take a look at some of the more advanced things you can do with a 3D cursor. It would help to have a few objects in the scene, so select this cube, Shift E, Shift E again, and heck, one more time, Shift E, there we go. Now, click this bottom cube and shift left click the one above it and go to Control P, Object. Do that again with the middle ones, Control P again, Object. And one more time, Control P, Object. Okay, good. Now, typically, if you move the top, all your children cubes will move. See that? So if I selected this middle one, all the children below it will move. Same here, just like this bottom one, hit G, and all these bottom children will move. If, however, I hit N and go to Tool, and make sure my little options is open. If it's not, you can just click on it, and it'll open up. I can click on Origin, and now you'll see my 3D cursor looks a little different, and I can hit G and move the origin of that cube. And it still moves the bottom children, but if I really want to, I can also click on Parent, hit G, and whoa, look at that. What's happening here is I'm moving this middle cube's origin point, but I'm not affecting the children below it. So let's put it over here. Let's turn these options off. And you can see this little orange dot now indicates the origin point of this cube right here. So if I hit R, you'll see that I'm now rotating about that brand new origin point. Trust me, this is a really handy tool in the future, especially when you have many objects. You just want to shift something, or you just want to affect the parent, but you don't want to affect all the children. It's a really, really handy tool. Okay, let's take a look at another option, and that's the ability to snap things. So I'm going to select all of these, hit X to delete. Let's hit Shift A, go to Mesh, and add a monkey. Now let's zoom in right to this monkey. And for this part, we're going to want to click on the 3D cursor right here, and make sure your tools are open. And where it says Orientation, that's under Active Tools, make sure that's open too. Go to Geometry. Now let's pause for a moment. If I move my screen a little bit, you can see the 3D cursor has this very nice squared off perpendicular look to it. If, however, I were to left click, you're going to want to left click this time because we have the 3D cursor tool active. If I left click on any face on this monkey, you can see that now if I zoom in right to the side, my 3D cursor is oriented along that monkey. See that? It orients itself along the face of that monkey. Yeah.
Okay. Dude. All good. All right, let's go. All right, so he says hit X and that'll delete it. Oh, cool. Shift A, put a monkey in. Okay. How did he get to active cursor? Is that just this?
And children will move. If, however, I hit N and go to Tool, and make sure my little options is open. If it's not, you can just click on that cube. And it still moves the bottom children. What's happening here is I'm moving below it. So let's put it over here. Origin point. Trust me, you just want to affect the parent, but you don't want to affect all the children. It's a really, really handy tool. Okay, let's take a look at another option, and that's the ability to snap things. So I'm going to select all of these, hit X to delete. Let's hit Shift A, go to Mesh, and add a monkey. Now let's zoom in right to this monkey. And for this part, we're going to want to click on the 3D cursor right here.
3D cursor.
And make sure your tools are open. And where it says Orientation, that's under Active Tools, make sure that's open too. Go to Geometry. Now let's pause for a moment.
How do you, wait, what, make sure what's open?
And make sure your tools are open. And where it says Orientation, that's under Active.
Tool. Oh, what, is it this? How do you make sure your tools are open, guys? View, tool, item. Where are those things? How do you do that? Oh, come on. This is what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. Anytime I try to do something, I'm like lost in here. Okay, how do you make sure the tools are open? Can you walk me through that, dude? He's got them open the whole time. Active tool. Active tools. Okay, active tools are on. Oh gosh. Okay, monkey. Go to 3D. Okay, that's like 3D cursor. When I click on that, then it opens up. Where are my tools? How do you do that? How do you get this little thing on the bottom to open up? Active tool. Is that it? That silly little arrow. Okay, gosh.
Option, and that's the ability to snap things. So I'm going to select all of these, hit X to delete. Let's hit Shift A, go to Mesh, zoom in, and make sure your tools are open. And where it says Orientation, that's under Active Tools, make sure that's open too. Go to Geometry. Now let's pause for a moment. If I move my screen a little bit, you can see the 3D cursor has this very nice squared off perpendicular look to it. If, however, I were to left click, you're going to want to left click this time because we have the 3D cursor tool active. If I left click on any face on this monkey, you can see that now if I zoom in right to the side, my 3D cursor is oriented along that monkey. See that? It orients itself along the face of that monkey. Now you're going to ask me, well, why is this important? So let's pick like a face right here. Make sure that parent is off. We don't want any of these options on right now. And then hit Shift A, go to cone. And without doing anything else, you'll see add cone down here at the bottom. Click on that. If for some reason you don't see this, you're going to have to delete that cone and re-add it because this window will disappear the moment you click away. Anyways, once you open this window, you'll want to look for...
That's what the guy's talking about. Like, when you unclick a thing, then it goes away.
It orients itself along the face of that monkey.
Okay, cool.
Now you're going to ask me, well, why is this important? So let's pick like a face right here. Make sure that parent is off. We don't want any of these options on right now. And then hit Shift A, go to cone. And without doing anything else, you'll see add cone down here at the bottom. Click on that. If for some reason you don't see this, you're going to have to delete that cone and re-add it because this window will disappear the moment you click away. Anyways, once you open this window, you'll want to look for the word align and switch that to 3D cursor. Now take a look at that. You can see that the cone has aligned itself to that face on the monkey. It would help to scale it in, so let's hit S to scale. There we go. And now I can zoom in here. And by the way, you can see that this window changed to the resizing tool.
Okay, so left click on this face here. Oh, that's cool. And I can like click and drag it and put it anywhere I want. Okay, so let's put it there. And he says, Shift A, let's add a cone, he says. And then go to add cone and 3D cursor, align. Okay, where do you go from there?
There we go. And now I can zoom in here.
Do you press S to
I want to look for the
scale?
word align and switch that to 3D cursor. Now take a look at that. You can see that the cone has aligned itself to that face on the monkey. It would help to scale it in, so let's hit S to scale.
Yeah.
There we go. And now I can zoom in here. And by the way, you can see that this window changed to the...
Oops. So as soon as you press S, you just need to drag the mouse up or down. That's really interesting. Is P position? No. That was cool. Okay, I could see how that makes like your workflow a lot faster and easier. All right, let's keep going.
The resizing tool. So be aware that this tool constantly changes depending on the last command that you've done. Anyways, you can see that the 3D cursor is oriented along this monkey's face, and that cone was created right along that area. I can demonstrate it a little bit better by clicking over here, left-clicking that is, hitting Shift-A, and in this case, let's go ahead and add ourselves a torus. You have a lot of options here, but all you need is the word align. It's right at the top. 3D cursor. Let's hide this for now, hit S and zoom in, and you can see that this little torus donut is sitting right along that side of the monkey. We've only just scratched the surface on what the 3D cursor can really do.
Cool. Okay, so S is, oh wait, S is size. Okay, now if I click over here and I'm still on 3D cursor, so let's go over here and Shift A. Okay, dude, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. It's like a total like rewiring of your brain, especially because oh, wow, that's crazy. Wow. It's total rewiring of your brain because everything is now like C4D'd. Like my brain is wired for C4D, but I'm starting to get it. Once you get the hotkeys, that was really cool. That was cool and amazing. How quickly that happens. By just hitting a couple hotkeys and your mouse, it's like almost like sticky keyed. So when you hit S, it like sticky keys that scale. So now like I'm not clicking any mouse button or anything. I'm just dragging my mouse around and that works like that. That's wild. So if I hit escape, yeah, escape would just go back. It didn't make the change. It would be interesting. Oh, wait. No, because that's not attached to. Oh, and I guess in order to move this, no. Okay. All right. Shortcut is Shift Spacebar. This shortcut is what? Shortcut Shift Spacebar B. What's that mean? Shortcut cycle. Because cycling through, I have a few different selection. That's tweak. Oh, wait. It's all tweak? Oh, no, select box. Okay. Okay, so cycles through there. What was it? Shift spacebar? Oh. Shift spacebar just brings up this thing over here. So you don't have to go over there. Okay. This does not have like a cycle through, so Shift spacebar, spacebar. Oh. It's like double shortcuts. It's crazy. So Shift spacebar brings up this menu, and then you see these little shortcuts over here. So Shift spacebar B. G is move. That moves the monkey head because I was on the monkey head. So if I go to the torus and hit G, oh man, that's wild. That is really cool. What was the other one? S for scale. G. Okay. All right. All right. That was like a breakthrough, I feel like. A brain breakthrough. Hey, Giovanna. I was supposed to like email you or something early this week, and I've been like going crazy. I'm gonna email you soon though, because we gotta do Hawk News like tomorrow. Yeah, that was like a total brain breakthrough. You know what it's like? This is gonna sound, I don't know. I'm getting way too deep about this maybe, but okay, in C4D, your right and left hand work together. Actually, probably most programs they work together, right? Like I don't know if that makes any sense. So I would like control click or something, and it would, I don't know, your left and right hand have to work together. But in this program, they've made it in such a case where it's like your left hand is totally independent from your right. Does that make sense at all? I don't know. That was like very super streamlined. It's neat once you get the hang of that. That's really neat. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but by simply like using my left hand to type on a key, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying here, but that's cool. That's all we got. But that was a huge shift. That was a huge breakthrough. I'm like, actually, I have faith that we can get comfortable in by we I mean I, that I can get comfortable in Blender. All right. Hey, listen, it's 11:03. I got to cut out because I've got work to do. But Drew, I wish you luck. I'll be back here tomorrow. Let me we'll see, man. We'll see if I have time. If I get some stuff done tonight, then maybe I'll have time to go and watch some of these tutorials and come back tomorrow with a little bit more knowledge and be able to navigate through this thing and help you out there. In the meantime, dude, if you have a library card, I say dive in. And you could probably, Drew, you could take 2D animation courses if that's your thing right now. You could just go in and just start Googling or go into Linda and start searching like Blender 2D animation, how to. Same thing. Just like start, watching as many videos on YouTube as you can. So, yeah, have at it, man. That was fun. That was fun. I have faith. I have faith in this program now. I'm not saving it, but I have faith in this program now. Thank you. What's this guy's name? Dave something or other. Thank you, Dave something or other. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.